We need the real workers back.
I know, I'm so lazy.
Trump, bring them back. We'll pay double.
Nebraskans are pissed. Bigly, Askins, the Askins are pissed. Nebraskans. No one wants to hear Farmer John with his butt crack showing, married to a Karen, complaining about losing your little farm when you voted for me.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Nah. Next question.
Yeah, so currently there is a growing wave of frustration which is being experienced in parts of Nebraska, where some white farmers are expressing anger over a shift they didn't even expect. So for decades, the backbone of much of their farm labor deeply relied on black workers. But now, due to immigration enforcement, border policies, and changing labor dynamics, things are no longer the same. So this video dives into why these farmers are upset, how race and labor expectations intersect, and what this tells us about deeper issues in America's agricultural system. Let's watch and then we'll be back to unpack it.
Is everybody here employees?
A sense of fear grips this tight-knit community.
Ladies, bring your paperwork up here. Show your ass!
After ICE raided this meatpacking plant in Omaha, Nebraska.
The looks on everybody's faces, it was just scared, crying.
Supervisor Stephanie Favila was in the morning meeting when agents entered Glen Valley Foods, arresting more than 70 migrants, including 3 of her family members.
How is this for you?
It's hard because they just call me asking info about my cousins and I don't know anything. I don't know if they're going to get deported. I don't know if they're good. I just don't know anything.
The men and women detained are suspected of being in the U.S. illegally. ICE says it's Nebraska's largest worksite immigration roundup in President Trump's second term.
This does impact our community and it does create fear.
John Ewing Jr. has been the mayor of Omaha since Monday. He says he doesn't support workplace raids.
We want to ensure that people are treated fairly and that they have due process in the course of these things.
The raids have sparked protests in Omaha. Supporters say those arrested were hardworking people, not criminals.
Racism is expensive. And corporations and billionaires don't care about you. This is probably breaking news to many who support and applaud mass deportations. Well, the people in Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, is starting to find out how expensive both of those things are, how expensive racism is, and how much corporations and the billionaires don't care about the working class, minorities, poor people, black people, and other non-billionaires.
I don't give a fuck about Nebraska going bankrupt in 6 months. Trump told you he's gonna do before you voted for him. And y'all voted for him. All y'all farmers in Nebraska voted for him because y'all admitted that y'all voted for him. So now in 6 months, all of y'all will be bankrupt. Go bankrupt. Maybe the rest of the red states will actually see what type of person he is, because he didn't give a fuck about you before. He damn sure don't give a fuck about you now. And that's y'all mistake. Learn from it.
It's literally exhausting being a millennial, defending millennials, when I see a video of the Nebraska girl asking, does anybody care about her state, not realizing her state FAFO'd when they decided to vote red, and now all of these undocumented immigrants have fled up out of Nebraska to go to states where it is safe to work and live in peace in the United States. See, that's the thing. Y'all think that you can just opt in or out of politics when you want to. Politics are all around us. They're unavoidable. When you get your groceries, when you get sick and need health care, when you are taking your kids to school in the morning, when you're deciding who you want to marry, politics are involved in all of the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis. So sis, when you're asking, does anybody care about Nebraska? The first people you should be asking that question to are the people who went to the ballot box and voted for someone who does not have your best interests at heart.
Trump kept saying,
during this campaign that the illegals were here stealing the blacks' jobs. He just kept harping on the black jobs, and everybody was like, what the hell is a black job? Well, this is just my perspective, or it's just my thought. I'm thinking that the Virginians and all the rest of the people who were depending on illegal immigrants for their labor, they kept hearing Trump saying that the black people jobs were being taken. I'm thinking in their minds, they were hearing Trump saying the black people are going to come back to those jobs. In my mind, I'm thinking they were hearing Trump says the black people are going to replace all those immigrants out in the fields and on the farms and all of that. I'm thinking that's what they were hearing. That's why they weren't messed up about voting to get rid of their illegal immigrants. They were thinking that the black people were going to step up and take those jobs back, because Trump kept saying these illegal immigrants are stealing the blacks' jobs. And therefore, in their mind, they heard we were getting our 1,800 slaves back. They had to have thought that their backup plan, Trump was going to miraculously, somehow, magically put all the black people back out in those fields, on those farms, and they were going to continue to get their work done. Now, that's just my thinking, because you cannot tell me that you as a business owner would get rid of your workforce and not have a backup plan. You are not going to knowingly and willingly walk into a bankruptcy, walk into losing your business, walk into losing your farms that have been in your family for 300 years unless you thought there was a backup plan.
First, let's understand the root of this frustration. For years, certain Nebraska farmers, mostly white, have relied on a pool of black and immigrant labor, often under harsh or low-paying conditions. But recently, immigration crackdowns and changes in border policies have made it harder for undocumented and even some documented workers to stay in the U.S. Now, with increased awareness in the black community and even more refusing exploitative labor, these farmers are facing a labor shortage, and they're angry. Not just because they're losing workers in general, but because they feel entitled to a labor force that no longer wants to serve them under outdated terms. And so some of these complaints have surfaced in local forums and community meetings, and even where farmers blame laziness or entitlement instead of recognizing the systematic issues like poor wages, lack of protections, and even racial exploitation. And here's the thing, agriculture in America has long been tied to racialized labor, from slavery to sharecropping to underpaid migrant and black labor. So what we are seeing now is reckoning. Communities that were once forced into labor are now reclaiming their agency, and that's upsetting the status quo. But instead of adjusting wages, improving working conditions, or supporting fair immigration reform, some farmers are choosing to point fingers. And they're even blaming the very people who have kept their farms running for years, all while ignoring the long history of imbalance in the system. So this shift isn't just about race. It's about power, it's about identity, and the unwillingness of some to change with the times. So the real question is, will America's agricultural system evolve, or will it collapse under the weight of its own outdated expectations? Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think this shift in labor dynamics is long overdue, or are we headed for a bigger agricultural crisis? Hit that like button, share this video, and let's talk about it.